Hi, and welcome to the Craft Code Crew blog. Today's post is going to be a little different from what we usually do. Today I want to talk to you about education, the topic which is very important to me. If you're wondering why, here's a little intro which is going to help us to get to know each other better. I am 25, and out of the past quarter of a century, I've spent 18 years in the education system. That makes 72% of my entire life. In this time, I have changed 3 schools and attended lectures in 4 different universities in 2 countries to obtain 2 bachelor degrees, which brought me where I am today. And this vast experience allows me to state with confidence that the education system is very far from being ideal. To understand where I'm coming from, let's consider education system as a black box for a while. As people interested in IT, you probably know that a system specification defines an input and an output. The input of our system is a child at a very young and impressionable age who is super excited to enter our box because it wants to learn all the cool, important stuff grown-ups do. Now, what's the outcomes going to be? I'm making it sound much more intriguing than it actually is, since we all know the answer. A school or university graduate often resembles a prison inmate who just got out of Shawshank through sewage pipes. And what they're all going to be telling you after feeling the rain on their skin for the first time is going to be, "Thanks God, it's all over now." So when for a moment we only consider the input and the output of the system, it is just very reasonable to ask ourselves, what the hell is going on inside of that box? So let's open it up together today and take a very good look inside to figure out what is that goes so terribly wrong with our education system. Well, I am a strong believer that the deep cause of all the problems is that learning is being provided and consumed completely detached from what lies at the very roots of it, and that is playing. It is not an obvious, but a very natural connection. The nature has given us substantial help with everything we need to be doing in order to survive and procreate, but are much too lazy to do on our own. This is what we usually call motivation, and it takes all kinds of different forms. Tiredness, for example, motivates us to sleep and restore our powers, and hunger to find and prepare food. The natural playfulness motivates us to learn. Playfulness is also not unique to human beings. Mimicking grown-ups, biting and playfully fighting each other is how wild animals learn to hunt. Chasing after one another is how children learn to run. The act of playing is what motivates us to repeat the same things over and over again until we reach perfection. So what can games teach us about learning that all the educational institutions nowadays cannot? I've picked 3 simple things education system has failed you with that I hope would change your perspective on learning today. Number 1, giving you the big picture. You know how in games you can open a map with an overview of all the upcoming adventures? Kind of exciting to be able to go on a journey through the challenging missions, isn't it? While at first sight it might seem like the school grades would give you just the same kind of roadmap, if you think of it, leveling up at school is totally meaningless to the person who it's also most important to, the child on the way to graduation. Meanwhile, the skills obtained from the first grade on are a dream of a game designer. Just think about unlocking multiplication after mastering addition and subtraction, and then being able to boost your character all the way into higher mathematics. But since no one ever bothers to share the big picture with the main stakeholder, which is the child inside the education system, all moving forward from one grade to another means to them is reducing the years until freedom. Missing the big picture is therefore one of the biggest mistakes of our education system. Number 2, the education system failed you in accounting for your perfectionism. Can you imagine an exciting game where you can only pass every level once? However bad your result was, you will have to stick with it until the game is over, and you will never be able to improve it. Who would ever come up with something like this, you'd ask? And the answer is, your school did. The tests you pass are those kind of levels that you can never come back to in order to get your 3 stars. Disregarding human nature and making every result final is one of the biggest motivation killers which make our education system so flawed. The last one on the list is meaningful rewards. Why did someone ever decide that stars will be enough for such comprehensive beings as humans? Stars, just like grades, are only good for a feeling of accomplishment, but they will not push you further and make you move to the next level. A meaningful reward is a weapon in your hands which you can use to take up a new challenge. If a child has just mastered addition, multiplication sign is what the reward should be. A pat on the shoulder is always nice, but alone it has no power to push the child to the next level. Meaningful rewards are a simple technique which makes us strive for more and gets players addicted to the games they're playing. So why not use it to help people learn new things? Making education to entertainment is a tough call. But what if entertainment is what it was always supposed to be? As a person whose heart beats technology, I believe that finding it out is as close as it has never been before. What it needs is believers and creators who will put their efforts together to redefine what we call education today. And maybe you're going to be one of them.